It's midday on Thursday the 29th of August. I'm just heading off on a little mini cycle tour around the North Dorset cycleway. Today I'm riding from my home in Bath out to a bison farm at West North. I'm going to camp there for 2 nights. I'm not a great fan of campsites, but I do need to leave my tent somewhere for 2 nights while I ride tomorrow, fairly light without all the camping kit, around the North Dorset cycleway. So I'm now at Bush Farm, all set up in my own little field. There's even a camping pod over there actually. If nobody turns up later on, I'll be sitting on their balcony to have my meal. So I thought I'd run you through my equipment. First of all, there's a Field and Trek water bag, which I've just filled up from that water tap over there. If I was doing a wild camp, I'd be filling that up about an hour, 45 minutes say, before finding somewhere to camp, and then I just bungee it to the back of my panniers. Folds up really small, it's got a large capacity. Bought this stick table recently for millets. It's only about £3. It's absolutely fantastic. It's one of those items where I'm not quite sure how I managed all these years without that. Condensed orange squash, or summer fruits, that one. That's really nice, just to get away from the bland taste of water. Cooking MSR Whisper Light and its heat shield. I use that in the summer. I wouldn't use that in the winter. It's too volatile because I do a lot of porch cooking in the winter, so I'd use something more like calorie gas. I've got a camping gas stove, rather, Van Gogh cook set. Wayfarer meal. I've never tried one of these before. A lot of the people I follow on YouTube swear by these, so I've got an all-day breakfast. I'm going to have that for my breakfast in the morning. It's what they call a wet meal. You don't add water to it. You put the bag in a pot of boiling water for 8 minutes, leave it a minute to settle, and then just eat it out of the bag. To be honest, it feels quite disgusting. It feels like something you might buy in a sex shop, to be honest. Some chocolate, some beer, tin fruit, chili con carne, some fresh strawberries, bread, margarine I bought from home, biscuits in case I get the munchies. In the tent then. So the tent itself is a storm shield. I picked it up for millets about 10 years ago. I was in between tents and I was like dithering about which one to replace a tent that had just packed up, and I bought this interim thinking it would do for a couple of years, and I've been using it ever since. I really like this tent. Gets me and all my equipment, my baggage, everything inside. So the X-Bed Sin Mat sleeping mat, the X-Bed ergonomic pillow, a Snug Pack Softy. It's a Merlin 3, comfort down to 5 degrees, a low down to freezing. You can add an extra season into that by just putting a cotton or silk liner in that. I've got a Harrier 10 for when I winter camp. There's all my filming equipment there, tripods, selfie sticks, recharging. That's the, what is that? That's the TechNet 15,000 milliamp hours. Means nothing to me either. It'll recharge everything camping for about a week. Phones, iPad, Garmin's, everything, you name it, for about a week. That's about it really. Oh yeah, a light bulb, tent light, LED. Only problem with this is it's not rechargeable. It runs on 3 AAA batteries, but they seem to last forever. So as the sun's going down, I've finished my meal. I walked down to the pod and I noticed they had some chairs and a table on their balcony. So I've just liberated one of the chairs for me to use. Obviously, if anybody turned up, I'd rush it back. But it's really nice having a camping seat here, just watching the sun go down in the field across there. So I've just finished my meal and the farm cat has come round to see me and say hello. Hello, puss. Well, it's now 7:45 on Friday morning. So as I said last night, on the advice of a lot of my friends on YouTube, I decided to try one of these Wayfarers ready meals. This one I chose was an all-day breakfast, so it's 7:45 on Friday morning. I've just eaten it now. So what did I think? My first impressions. You put the bag in a pot of boiling water for 7 to 8 minutes and then you leave it stand for a minute. You don't even need to cut it open. It's actually perforated. It opens really easily. The moment I looked inside, it looked really nice and wholesome. Smelt like a trucker's cafe. Have to say, it tasted remarkably good. I would definitely have one again, that's for sure. What I would do differently next time, you can pour the contents in a pan and actually heat it conventionally. I'd probably do that. I would definitely not eat it out the bag next time. Possibly lack of experience, but I found it awkward and difficult to cut the meat in the bag. I would just pour it onto a plate and eat it conventionally. But yeah, first impression, very, very positive. As you can probably see, my bike's made up. I've just put one of my front panniers on the back. That's just got my kit in there today, like toolkit, spare in a tube, clothes, money, etc. lock. I'm going to be riding that around the North Dorset cycleway today. So it's now 20 to 10 and I've just ridden 2 miles in fact from my campsite down here to this junction, and this is where I joined the North Dorset cycleway. So I'm 3 or 4 miles into the ride now. I'm on the other side of Gillingham where the route officially starts and finishes. So as I came through Gillingham, I had to really concentrate to find my way through the junctions. And I realised the National Cycle Network has renamed this circuit. It appears to be 253. So that should give me some hints as I pass through places like Blandford and Sturminster Newton, because it can be confusing sometimes when you have to make instant decisions in town centres. So I've just dropped down from the small village of Fivehead Magdalen into Hardy's Blackmore Vale. In fact, I'm just crossing the River Starra before I climb up that hill behind me to the really nice village of Marnhull. So I'm in between Marnhull and Sturminster Newton on this really nice lane. So when I rode this about 20-25 years ago, I was just following the route sheet, to be honest, and I didn't really know the area. Well, I know it a lot better now, and normally when I turn right at Marnhull, I just take a B road down into Sturminster Newton. It's only a few miles. Sometimes you get traffic behind you. It's not particularly scenic, but it's a quick way to get from A to B. But this is much, much nicer. This is so well thought out. I'd totally forgotten about this. So it's about 20 past midday now, and I've just pulled into Sturminster Newton Mill. It's on the River Stour, just south of Sturminster Newton itself. Going to go and have an explore there in a minute. First of all, I'm going to take advantage of their picnic site. Still quite full up from that breakfast this morning. It didn't seem big, but it was very, very filling, so I've just got a soft drink and a Danish. That's all I fancy at the moment. Lovely spot. I so often zoom by here when I'm on an Audax. You're under the time constraint of feeling like you can't really stop and explore. Well, today's exactly the opposite. That's what this little mini tour is all about. So as you walk behind the watermill, you walk alongside the mill pond, and then over this bridge where it cascades down into the River Stour. You may see there's a really big log that's got wedged underneath the bridge. There's all these spider webs, really big spider webs, with tons of huge spiders on them. Not just one, this one here for instance, probably about half a dozen really huge spiders. Look, I'll zoom in and show you. So I'm south of Sturminster Newton, heading up towards the North Dorset Downs. You'll see them in the background. But the route has been redesignated Route 253 by the National Cycle Network. It was previously the North Dorset Cycleway. You can see the old brown distinctive North Dorset Cycleway sign. They've just pasted 253 on top of it. So it's 1:30 and I'm sat outside this lovely pub with a pint of doom. That could be a portent of things to come actually. I don't know how wise it is because I've got the Dorset Downs approaching. Saw that green phone box and it suddenly brought back a memory when I rode down to Swanage Youth Hostel a couple of years ago. There was torrential rain forecast, so I actually got up and left at 3 o'clock in the morning to try and avoid it. I'd pre-booked the youth hostel, so I felt obliged to go. And I remember right next to that phone box there's a bus shelter, and I sheltered in there and had some lunch, and I got really cold, wrapped myself in a space blanket. What a contrast to today, sat here in the baking sun. So I've climbed up onto the big chalk escarpment, getting these wonderful views. And now I'm heading towards the second of today's towns, Blandford Forum. deviated very slightly from the cycle path alongside the river just to come and have a look at this mural. It's on the wall of a supermarket. It used to be the car, I've got a feeling it may now be Waitrose, commemorating the Somerset and Dorset Railway, which used to pass right overhead on an embankment. So back on the North Dorset cycleway, this is a spot of the old embankment which carried the railway across. There's a couple of flood arches remaining. That's now a listed monument, they're being restored. The embankment was demolished, ironically, to help construct the modern day bypass which runs around Blandford. You can hear it in the distance. So I've just crossed the busy Wimborne to Blandford Road. Down there, this crossroads, I've come across one of the original North Dorset cycleway signs, because it's been redesignated since National Cycle Network Route 253. So it's 10 to 8 and I've just finished my circuit. This is the way back to the campsite. I've just come in from that direction, from Shaftesbury and Motcombe, and this morning this is where I joined the circuit, headed down that way to Gillingham. It's been absolutely fantastic. You can probably see the sun's about to set. The timing's absolutely fantastic. I just stopped at Tesco in Shaftesbury to get myself a couple of Doom bars and a chicken curry. So back to the campsite, a shower, then I'm probably going to be cooking in the dark. Then I'll give my darling wife Linda a call. It's been absolutely fantastic day. Really thoroughly enjoyed it. So it's 9:15, back at the campsite, had a shower, got changed, just called Linda. Just boiling some pasta which looks like it might nearly be ready. Drain that off. Mix some chicken curry in with it. Heat that up. That'll be my main meal. I've got a couple of bottles of Doom Bar and I've got a tin of apricot halves as my pudding afterwards. I'm going to really enjoy this. Bon appetit. Here's my evening meal. Chicken curry mixed in with cooked pasta. One of my favourite meals after I've been cycling. And I've got a couple of bottles of Doom Bar to chill out afterwards. Still a little bit of sunset you may see. Lovely evening. So it's coming up to 8 AM on Saturday morning now. I'm just sat outside my tent having a coffee, dunking a biscuit. So I'm really pleased with how my idea turned out, because the camping has been brilliant, and yesterday just riding the bike like was brilliant. I just felt there was no time constraint like you have on an Audax. Lo and behold, coming up to 7 PM last night, I suddenly realised, my goodness, it's going to be getting dark soon. I just didn't even bring a light out. It just didn't even occur to me, a front light anyway. I've always got rear lights attached to my bike. So even on this route, I was sort of felt towards the end, hey, you need to get a little bit of a move on, and the timing was perfect. You know, I arrived into Shaftesbury, went to Tesco's, got some beer and some food, and just ended up back at the start and finish point of my circuit just as the sun was going down. It's absolutely fantastic. Then getting back at the campsite last night, there's a few more people in the field behind me now, people with families and children, and I've got this field to myself. I've got the chair again, so it's been a fantastic trip. So I'm just getting ready to decamp. It may look like I'm very organised, in fact it's the opposite. I'm quite forgetful. So what I tend to do these days is put my sleeping mat out and put everything in piles on it before I start my packing. So all my wash kits together, all my cooking stuffs together, and then I'll go around the tent and clear everything out till it's empty, apart from the stuff sack for the tent, which may blow away. And that way, if I start finding things, they don't get put in the panniers loose after everything's been packed away. So last night I was in the tent by about 11 o'clock. It's fantastic just sat out here, and of course I needed to get up a couple of times during the night. Having the tent bulb right by the door is fantastic because it allows you to find the zips really easily and get yourself out quickly. I just stood there looking up at the sky, and there's no light pollution for miles, so the stars were really bright, and I looked up above me and there's my favourite constellation, Cygnus. In fact, it's the only constellation I know of that actually looks anything like it's supposed to be. I mean, I can see it clearly like a flying swan. It's even got the Milky Way going down the middle of it, so it had that whitey glow as well. I pointed it out to Linda and she cannot see it whatsoever, just like I cannot see the man in the moon, and she can see that really clearly. So I think you tend to see what you want to see sometimes. As usual, thanks very much for watching, and till next time.